Hi, I am Vidushi and you are watching Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why, and how of newspaper analysis from the UPSC perspective. So, today we have taken up important articles from the Hindu, the Business Line, and the Indian Express. So, the first topic which we are going to discuss is about forest fire. Second is election of unopposed candidate. Third discussion will be based on IRDAI Insurance Product Regulation 2024. Fourth discussion will be based on State of the Climate in Asia report. And last discussion will be on National Disaster Response Fund NDRF. Okay. So now before starting our discussion, if you like our video, subscribe channel with your friends, share our videos. So let's start our discussion. So first discussion will be on this news article which appeared on page number 1 in the Hindu newspaper. This article is about forest fire, and context is that massive forest fire have engulfed the mountains and of the Uttarakhand, and in the past 72 hours it has gutted over 140 hectares of forest land in the state, and this problem is aggravating because it is reaching near residential area in Nainital town. Okay. Now, why we have taken it? Because as you can see, forest fire and global warming. Why we have picked this topic? Because global warming is a major contributor in frequent forest fire, and forest fire contribute to local warming. Okay. And you can see here conservation, environmental pollution and degradation is important theme under GS paper 3. Also, forest fire is a disaster, which is another important theme under GS paper 3. Okay. Also, UPSC has already asked question on forest. Examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on climate change. This question came in 2020. So here we will cover important aspects related to forest fire. Now, first we'll start with what do you mean by forest fire? The forest fire is uncontrolled fire that occur in the wilderness, and why it is also known as wildfire, because it is not intentionally set by human like burn for agriculture purpose. So it greatly varies in size and intensity, and it can burn anything from patch of grass to forest. So this is about forest fire. Now let's see the key characteristics of forest fire. So first characteristic of forest fire is its location, which typically occur in natural areas like forest, shrubs, grasslands, etc. Second key feature is fuel. Here they consume natural vegetation like fallen leaves, trees, shrub. So this plant matter, it acts as a fuel for forest fire. Third characteristic is uncontrolled spread. As I told you, it is not intentionally set by human, so it spread rapidly without human intervention, and it is pushed by winds fueled by dry condition. So third characteristic is uncontrolled spread. Now come to the fourth characteristic, that is environmental condition. Okay. Now it is like environment can influence forest fire, like speed of wind speed, wind direction, topography of land. All these factors can influence forest fire. That is why it is said that fire move faster uphill because heat rises. Okay. Now, fifth condition is combustion. Here process involved is combustion. It is a mix of heat, fuel and oxygen which result in a chemical reaction that result in a forest fire. So these are the chief characteristics of forest fire. Now let's see its vulnerability with respect to India. According to Forest Survey of India, more than 36 of country's forest area has been estimated to be prone to frequent forest fire. Okay, 36% to frequent forest fire. Nearly 4% of country's forest cover is extremely prone to forest fire. Okay, and 6% of forest cover is found to be very highly fire prone. Okay, this is as per ISR 2019. Now, in India, if you talk about month November to June, these months considered to be the forest fire season. Okay, and this situation further aggravate during February, May, June, July. Okay, now let's see types of forest fire. So first in this category is surface forest fire. It is a fast moving forest fire and it consumes basically small vegetation, because we are talking about the surface. So it consumes small vegetation, surface litter, along with loose debris. Okay, and this is the most commonly found forest fire in India. Second is crown fire. See here, this crown fire is, it advances from top to top of trees or shrubs. Okay, and there is no close link with the surface. It is the most destructive forest fire and fastest forest fire to spread, and it is rarely found in India. So this is about crown fire, forest fire. It advances from top to top of the tree or shrubs. Third is ground fire. It consumes organic matter like peat, musk, etc. that is beneath the surface litter or forest surface or forest layer. Now it is difficult to predict. Why? Because it spreads within rather than top of the organic matter. Okay, and one unique characteristic is smoldering edge with no flame and little smoke. Okay, and that is why it is difficult to predict this fire or to tackle this fire, because it is beneath the organic matter. So these are the three type of forest fire: surface, crown and ground. Now come to the causes. Now causes you can categorize under two major category: natural and anthropogenic. Natural comes like lightning during rainstorm, lightning friction of rolling stone, rubbing of dry bamboo, volcanic explosion, then dry weather coupled with calm winds. So it provides a conducive environment for quick spread of wildfire. Okay, so these are the natural causes of wildfire. Now come to the anthropogenic one. This you can categorize under two categories. One is the deliberate one and one is the accidental one. In deliberate one, you can write about shifting cultivation. You all know that it is a traditional farming agriculture where you clear a patch of land by slashing or burning the vegetation. Then to enhance growth of tedua leaves, which is used to roll local cigarettes. Then to have a good growth of grass and fodder, fire is used to clean the old vegetation. Then to settle score with forest department, to clear path by villagers, they clean forested land by burning it. Okay, to encroach upon the forest land, for concealing illicit felling, tribal tradition. So all these are the deliberate causes. Now come to the accidental one: collection of non-timber forest produce, burning farm residue, which is sometimes when out of control, then driving away wild animals. To chase away wild animal, they use fire. Throwing burning beedi or cigarettes, then campfires by the picnickers, sparks from vehicle, sparks from transformers, etc. These are the accidental causes. Okay. Now, having seen the types and causes, let's see impact of forest fire. So, first impact is biodiversity change. Forest fire can alter the ecological balance. Okay, like in Himalaya, it altered the ecological balance and it makes it less suitable for oak trees and more suitable for pine trees. Okay. Now it lead to change in the local ecosystem, and this affected species were dependent on oak trees because forest fire make it less suitable for oak tree. Okay, so it will impact species who are dependent on oak trees for their survival. So first is forest fire can alter the ecological balance. Second is reduce soil moisture. Now loss of soil moisture, it can lead to a vicious cycle, like it will lead to a dry condition with which is easier for fire to start. Okay, and this, see, moisture, it acts as a natural retardant, so obviously in absence of moisture it increase the fire risk. So second is reduce soil moisture. Now come to the third part, that is reduce water infiltration. See, forest fire contribute to high temperature. From forest fire, it alter the chemical and physical property of soil, and that lead to the hard surface which is impervious to the water. Now it prevent water. See, this is the soil. This layer prevent water from soaking into the ground. Yes, and it further exaggerate the drought condition and can alter the water recharge cycle. So third impact is it reduce water infiltration. Now it enhanced global warming. How? See, forest fire, they contribute global warming by the, like, it led to the destruction of trees, and you know trees act as a natural carbon sink. Okay. Also, uh, forest fire emit gases like nitric oxide, methane, carbon dioxide. All these gases contribute to global warming. Yes. So it enhanced global warming. Next is microclimate change. See, removal of forest floor. Okay. Plus destruction of canopy. Both the factors can alter the local ecosystem. Like it can increase the sunlight area, which definitely will increase the temperature, which can affect the local habitat. So it can impact the microclimate. Then next is soil erosion. Just now we have seen that high temperature can alter the chemical and physical property of soil. It is very difficult for soil to retain the moisture. So what will happen? It will become loose, which is prone to erosion. Okay. Next is flooding. Now, combination of water repellent soil plus loss of vegetation. Now vegetation is not there to absorb moisture, then soil become soil cannot retain moisture because of high temperature, just now we have seen. So what will happen? It will lead to a more flooding. Okay, and that is why it is said to curb deforestation for the same reason. So these are the different impact of forest fire. First, it can alter ecological balance. Second, it can lead to like loss of moisture. Second, how high temperature can alter the soil properties and can make it hard, which is impervious to water. Then it can lead to global warming because trees act as a carbon sink. Fourth, how it can change microclimate. Then soil erosion. When soil cannot hold moisture, definitely it will become loose. That is prone to more soil like erosion, soil erosion. Then water repellent soil coupled with loss of vegetation leads to more flooding. So these are the impact of forest fire. Now let's see the initiative taken by the government. Now, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change prepared National Action Plan on Forest Fire to minimize forest fire, and in this plan, it is there to informing, enabling, empowering forest friends communities and incentivizing them to work in tandem with Forest Department. Same ministry also constituted Central Monitoring Committee for overseeing the implementation of this plan, that is National Action Plan on Forest Fire. Then forest fire prevention and mitigation measures are funded under the centrally sponsored Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. Okay, and this is under the Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority. So these are the initiatives taken by government in this regard. Now let's see what else can be done to improve the situation. First, this early detection system. We need to use advanced technologies like satellite imagery, drones at nascent stage. Okay. Second is we need to train our forest personnel, and we need to equip them with communication devices so that they can inform or report incident accidents promptly. So first is early detection system. Second is we need to create regular awareness campaign to educate local communities, to tell them about the dangers associated with forest fire. Okay, so community engagement and awareness. Third is fire breaks and fuel management. We need to create fire breaks by clearing vegetation around railway lines, tracks, trails, etc. Fourth is legislation and enforcement. We need to increase penalties for offenders and streamline our judicial system for swift delivery. Then we need to strengthen the capacity of forest department. Then firefighting infrastructure and capacity building. We need to invest more in firefighting infrastructure with respect to water tanks, fire trucks, fire fighting equipments, etc. Then we need to establish fire response team with special training, and we need to collaborate it with other agencies like armed forces, etc. Last but not the least, research and technology innovation. Now we need to support research in this sector. We need to invest in the predictive model and decision support to anticipate fire risk and prioritize preventive measures. So these are the steps which we can take to curb risk associated with forest fire or to reduce this. Okay, so this is about the forest fire. If you have any doubt, please drop your doubt in our comment box. Now come to our next topic. Next discussion is based on this news article which appeared on page number 12 in the Hindu newspaper. Context of this news is that the nominee of Bharatiya Janata Party from Surat constituency was declared elected unopposed. Okay. Now, in this discussion we'll see the legal provisions related to the declaration of result before the election, and in this we delve into the relevance of nota also, where there is no opposing candidate in fray. Okay. Now the question is that how one candidate was declared winner, elected even before the election. Okay. The answer lies in section 53 of Representation of People Act 1951. And that is the reason why we have picked this article, because salient features of the Representation of People Act is important theme under GS paper 2. So now how one candidate was declared elected even before the election. Answer is in section 53 of RPA Act 1951. So the first provision in this is that if the number of contesting candidate is more than the number of seat, suppose candidate is 3 and more than seat is 5. Okay. Candidate is 5 and seat is 3. Then definitely poll shall be taken. Okay. Next is if the number of such candidate is equal to the number of seat to be filled. Suppose seat is 2 and number of candidate is also 2. Okay. In that case, returning officer shall forthwith declare all such candidates to be duly elected to fill those seats. Now, same thing happened in Surat also, because in Surat there was one seat and one candidate. Why? Because other candidates, like rejection of nomination of Congress candidate and withdrawal by the other candidate. So there was only one seat and one candidate. And that is the reason why returning officer elected him. So this is the second case. Third, if the number of such candidates is less than the number of seats. Suppose candidate is 1 and seat is 2. In that case, returning officer shall forthwith declare all such candidates to be elected. Okay. So these are the three conditions provided in section 53 of Representation of People Act 1951. And what happened in Surat? There was one seat and one candidate, and that is why returning officer declared him elected. Now the next question is, why the nomination of Congress candidate was rejected? Okay. Answer lies in the same act, 1951 RPA Act, section 33. Okay. Here subclause 4. On the presentation of a nomination paper, the returning officer shall satisfy himself that the names and the electoral roll numbers of the candidate and his proposer as entered in the nomination paper are the same as those entered in the electoral rolls. See what happened in Surat. 3 proposers of the Congress candidate, okay, they claimed in an affidavit that in front of DEO, that is District Election Officer, that they had not signed his nomination, and they do not even turn up in front of DEO to support the this candidate, Congress candidate. That is why that form got rejected. Okay. Now there was no contestant, and however, nota option was there. So experts, they argue that there is a scope for negative votes. So in this discussion, we'll see the aspects related to none of the above, that is nota. Now here, one can go for nota under two things. One is the Conduct of Election Rules 1961. Here rule number 49O. It allows electors to decide not to vote. So here you have a remark column. Okay, there's a form where you have a remark column, where presiding officer will write that this candidate or this person opted for nota, and here that person need to put a thumb impression or sign that they have voted for nota. Okay. Now you at a polling station, you are putting your thumb impression or you are signing in front of a presiding officer. So anyone can get to know about your choice. So there is breach of secrecy. So here the problem is breach of secrecy, because anyone can get to know about your option. Now the second is option of nota on electronic voting machine, EVM. Here the threat of breach of secrecy is not there. Okay. Now according to the handbook provided to returning officer, nota votes are not to be taken into account for calculating the total valid votes polled for the return of the security deposit. This means that anyone who is getting the largest number of votes in the constituency, then that person will be declared winner. Okay. And regardless the number of nota votes. Okay. That is why it is written here that nota votes are not taken into account. But here are certain exceptions, like with respect to local bodies poll. And here example is Maharashtra State Election Commission. Maharashtra State Election Commission considered nota as a fictional electoral candidate. Okay. So during the poll, if Nota gets the highest vote, then commission will go for repoll. Okay. But this is with respect to certain commission only, certain local bodies only. That is why it is just an exception. Normally, Nota votes are not to be taken into account. Now, there is a evolving debate with respect to Nota. There have been instances wherein votes obtained by political parties were lower than the Nota votes. But section of activists and constitutional experts, they have been critical, calling Nota a toothless tiger with no implication or result. Then Supreme Court, which had in the past refused to direct Election Commission to hold fresh polls if majority exercise Nota, and asked poll panel to respond to a plea seeking fresh election to constituencies where Nota votes were in majority. Okay. Now let's move to our next topic, which is based on this article which appeared on page 12 in the Hindu newspaper. This article context is that World Meteorological Organization 2023 came up with a report titled Status of Climate in Asia. So here we will see facts provided by this research paper, this report, which you can use in your answer writing to enrich its quality. If any question comes around global climate, extreme climate event, you can quote these facts in your answer. So let's see the key highlights first. Asia has warmed faster than the global average since 1960, according to this report. And it also reiterated that 2023 was the warmest year on record. According to this report, the alarming gap between climate projection and the ability of Asian countries to adapt to mitigate climate change and its impact. So there's a gap, alarming gap. Now let's see the impact of warming. More than 2,000 people were killed and more than 9 million were affected by extreme climate event. And in India, severe heat waves killed near about 110 people in April and June. Now, this report also provided fact with respect to floods and storms. Like out of all extreme events, more than 80% of these events were related to storms and flood. Like tropical cyclone Mocha affected Myanmar and Bangladesh in May 2023 was the strongest cyclone in Bay of Bengal. And in India, if you talk about India, Pakistan and Nepal, floods, landslides and lightning killed nearly 600 people. And lightning accounted for 1,200 deaths around India. So these are the facts with respect to floods, storms, lightning. Now let's see status of early detection and warning. See, according to UN data regarding early detection and warning, if you talk about Asia, warning and dissemination. Warning and dissemination was the strongest area under the framework with respect to Asia. That means once a potential disaster or extreme event is identified, Asian countries, they are relatively effective in communicating a warning to their citizens. Okay. So they are strong in warning and dissemination part. But risk knowledge was the weakest. That means the understanding of risk assessment, like identifying risk, assessing risk, prioritizing risk is not very well developed in Asian countries. And that is the reason, like, there is a lack of comprehensive knowledge which can hinder the ability to make a mitigation plan. Okay. So Asian countries strong in warning and dissemination and weak in risk knowledge. Third is that fewer than half of Asian countries only, they have tools to mitigate climate change. That means most of the countries, they don't have technologies, they don't have resources, they don't have policies to reduce or to manage climate risk. Okay, as per this report. Now, what about the learnings for India? See, this global events, they are rising globally and including India. So, improved preparedness can minimize the damage. Okay. Secondly, India done very well with respect to cyclone management. But if we talk about deaths and destruction caused by lightning, India need to work on that. So these are the two suggestions or learning for India. And what about the way forward? Way forward, like India has historically demonstrated commendable resilience in responding to floods, storms, and droughts. But India need to show same with respect to heat waves, retreat of glaciers, and rising sea levels. Just now we have seen that nearly 600 people across India, Pakistan, Nepal were killed because of floods, landslides, and lightning. So India need to perform in these uh, events also. Also, these climate change, heat waves, and retreat of glaciers, they require urgent attention and strategic overhaul of our current policies and adaptation strategies. And it is also crucial to empower local communities with the necessary resources and policies to effectively combat these evolving climatic adversities. Okay, so this is all about from the WMO report, that is status of climate in Asia. Now come to our next discussion, which is based on this news article that appeared on page number 12 in the Hindu newspaper. Context of this news is that IRDAI introduced a new set of guidelines, insurance products, regulation 2024. It is a part of wide reform agenda. And in this discussion, we'll see about new changes and their impact, and especially we will see that how rules related to health insurance cover for senior citizens. Now why we have taken, because issues related to health, education, and human resource is important theme under GS paper 2. So let's start our discussion with what do you mean by insurance. See, insurance means a contract between a policy holder, insurance company. See, insurance is a contract in which a policy holder receives financial protection, you can say reimbursement against losses from an insurance company. Okay. For example, you bought a policy coverage of 10 lakh, and for that you have to pay a certain amount of chunk, or you can certain amount of premium annually. And in that, once you get hospitalized and your expenditure is about more than 10 lakh, that in that case 10 lakh would be reimbursed or paid by the insurance company. Okay, that is insurance. Now here, problem is that according to Forbes, only 37% of population in India, they hold health insurance. Okay, and that is the reason which becomes a major factor in high out of pocket expenditure, and which also works as impediment in the accessibility in healthcare facility. Okay, only 37% of Indian population, they hold health coverage. To rectify this problem, government came with 2024 regulation with a twin objective. First is to provide enable environment for the insurers to respond faster to emerging market. Second, to improve ease of doing business. And third, to enhance insurance penetration. Okay. Next is to ensure protection of policyholders' interests. So these are the twin objective of 2024 regulation. Now, let's see the features related to health insurance. Now, in this 2024, they reduced the waiting time. Rules have reduced the specific waiting time from 4 to 3 years. Now, as per the norm, on the completion of waiting time, uh, diseases or treatment will be covered, and policy has been renewed only if policies has been renewed without any breaks. Now, with the reduction of waiting time, you can use the cover at an early time. Okay. So this time period reduced from 4 to 3 years. Next is time frame for defining pre-existing diseases. So the time frame for defining pre-existing diseases has been set to 3 years in the new regulation. Pre-existing diseases, any diseases or any treatment that you know about or got treatment before you got a insurance cover. Okay, so that has been set to 3 years in the new regulation. Next is Ayush, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy system treatment coverage. It's another aspect emphasized in the new norm. So here, regulations, they have mandated a broad policy providers policy for the insurers, and in through that they want regulators. So according to this broad policy, what they want, regulators want insurance companies to treat Ayush patients on par with other patients. Okay, and this is not something new. In 2016 also they were doing it, but that is very selective for certain hospital or healthcare facilities. But in 2024 they made it mandated, or it has been mandated in 2024 regulation. Okay. Now, renewal of policy. The regulator has also advised insurers against denying renewal of a health insurance policy on the ground that insured had made a claim or claims in the preceding policy year. Next is change with respect to senior citizen. This news article is about that. So in this 2024, they dropped the maximum entry age directive, not criteria, directive for entry into a health coverage policy. So in 2024, they dropped the maximum entry age directive. Okay. See, for any insurance policy, there is exit stage, entry stage, that is maximum age and minimum age when you can buy the product up to when you can buy the policy. So there was a general perception that in 2016 there was a capping or a regulating or some kind of restriction in upper age with respect to senior citizen. But it was not like that. See, in 2016, IRDAI, they mentioned that insurance companies, they at least try to give health insurance covers to citizens below 65. Okay. But in that, they had not barred any insurance company that they should not give health insurance cover to anyone who is above 65. That is why many insurance company, they are offering policy to citizens above 65. Okay. So there was not any clause with respect to age. That was just a directive. So in new policy, IRDA, that they first dropped this thing, entry age, and now also any insurance company, they have full control over the policy. If they found or if they see insurer deems someone is too big to risk to provide a insurance cover, then they can refuse it. Okay. Still, insurance company can decide. Now let's see the impact. So affordability or ability to pay premium is crucial for senior citizen in terms of opting for health insurance, especially at a time when they require the cover most. Second is buying health insurance at an early stage, as it provides comprehensive coverage with a low premium and guaranteed policy renewal. This is the way ahead. Okay. Then changes give plenty of latitude to insurers to develop products for various demographic segments, okay, above 65 and below 65. So these are the impact and key issues. Now come to our last topic, which is based on this news article which appeared on page number 1 in the Hindu newspaper. Context is states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, they approached Supreme Court seeking relief fund for calamities such as cyclone, floods, etc. And central government, they provided near about 4,000 crore from the NDRF. Okay, that is why in this discussion we'll see important facts with respect to NDRF. Before that, let's see important facts associated with State Disaster Response Fund. Now, this fund was constituted under Section 48 of Disaster Management Act 2005. And in this fund, state will contribute 75%. And for special category states like northeastern states, the Himalayan states like Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, state will contribute 90%. And this contribution will be given in 2 equal installment as per the recommendation of the Finance Commission. Okay. Now the kind of disaster covered under this: cyclone, drought, earthquake, fire, flood, tsunami, cloudburst, pest attack, forest frost and cold waves. These are the disasters covered under this. And there is a local disaster, like state can provide fund to local disaster, but that disaster should not be included in notified list provided by Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, but that disaster should be listed in state list. Okay, then only state can provide fund to that. So state may provide up to 10% of the fund available under the SDRF for local disaster, only for those disasters listed in state list. Okay, and not included in notified list of disaster provided by Ministry of Home Affairs. Now let's see facts with respect to NDRF. This fund was constituted under Section 46 of Disaster Management Act 2005, and it supplements, this is important word, it supplements SDRF of a state. Okay. Now here the allocation of funds under SDRF and NDRF is based on Financial Commission. Okay. And to ensure additional funding, if like there is a statement that any private entity can contribute to this fund, then answer is yes, because here central government has allowed that recipient of contributions grants from any person or institution. Okay, so if any statement is that any private entity can contribute to NDRF, then answer is yes. So that's all from today. If you have any doubt, please drop your doubt in our comment box. Stay tuned for more such updates. Thank you.